I'm Leanne, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to repurpose old clothing, whether it's from the op shop or out of your drawer. And today I thought we would make an apron out of a pair of jeans. Now I bought these from the op shop for like 50 cents and I would never wear them, but they will make a really good apron. So first thing you have to do is of course wash them thoroughly and iron them, and then you have to kind of decide how long you want your apron. I quite like it to go down to my knees, so I would probably take it as close to the crotch as I can, and I would just get a pair of scissors or my rotary cutter and a ruler, and I would just cut across. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Make sure you've got a nice straight centre for your front, and then just cut across in a straight line. So I've cut the leg off now, and I just want to turn them inside out. And because I want the nice seam down the front, I'm going to cut the inner leg of the jeans and just take that right off. Now you want to keep the other leg, because if you want to make your own bias binding, you're going to need that leg for that. You might have purchased bias binding, which works fine. It's whatever's easy. And it's all about practicing and learning to sew straight lines and to become confident in your sewing. And if, like me, you live in a place where we don't have a lot of fabric shops, it's a really good way to get fabric. Now I'm actually going to use it this way, because I then have the bottoms already done. I don't have to hem the bottom, and you can tell that that's too wide, so I can tell that I probably want it to come out to maybe there. So I'm going to get a pin, and I'm going to pin it there, so I know that's where I want it. And then I obviously want it to come under my arms, so that's about how high I want it. And obviously I want to have it in a sort of a semicircle, because that's kind of an arm shape, underarm shape. So now I'm going to fold it in half with that seam right on the middle like that. And you'll see that one seam is slightly, you've got a little bit extra because the back of the pants was wider than the front of the pants. So I'm going to kind of cut like an armhole shape for my arms. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to just cut off that extra bit so that both sides of the front are the same. And the good thing about this is if you've got them in your drawer and you're going to throw them out anyway, or you bought them from the op shop, they haven't been a great expense. And if it's a real disaster, you can just throw this out and start again because you have a second leg. Right, so now I have that kind of a shape, and this is just a basic apron. You could add lace, you could pretty it up, you could embroider on it, you could do a applique on it, you could do anything you like on it, because it's your apron, it's original, and you can do anything you like with it. But I'm just going to put that aside right now, because I actually want bias binding to match, and I'm going to use the other leg. So once again, it's easier if you turn it inside out. You can, once again, you can use a ruler, and you can use a pair of scissors, and you can use chalk or pen or whatever you want, and you can draw a line. But because I don't need to do that, because I know what I want, I'm just going to cut my line on my bias binding, and then I'm going to cut through the seam. And for my apron, I'm going to cut myself maybe 2-inch bias binding, because I want to use the bias binding more to put the ribbon through for the tie than anything else. So I think I'll go 2 inches, and then if it's not enough or I need more, I can cut more. And of course I need one for each side, and the back is going to give me a little bit more than the front, so I'll cut 2 pieces. That's the longest part of the jeans, and it should be just enough to use as bias binding around the armholes. But what I would do next is I will overlock the top, and then I will turn it over so it has a facing. I sew in the side seams. I'm going to do them before I do the top, and then once I've done that, I'll do the bias. So today I have kind of a contrasting colour in my thread, but the bottom is white, and once again I would have it matching if I was actually going to give it away as a gift, or it was something I wanted to look really nice. Now I have pretty much almost a whole apron. So when I did the bias, you can see it's got a stretch on it, so it's got a bit of give. So I folded it in half and I ironed it. Then on one edge I folded that in half a second time, and I pressed that as well. And what I'm going to do is get the edge that I haven't folded, and I'm going to put it on to the armhole of my apron and pin that in. You can do both sides and then sew it, or you can do one and then sew it. You can really do what you want. And then you turn that over and fold that there like that, or I quite like doing it the other way because you get a straighter line where you put it underneath and you pin it on. So I'll do one of each so you can see it doesn't really matter which way you do it. It's more about preference. And when you sew it on your machine, whatever the width of this part is the width you want to sew it in when you're sewing it. So I'll just do that now. So you can see I've sewn one on to the right side and I've sewn one on to the wrong side. So what I'm going to do now is press it and show you what to do next. Then I'll sew it and you can see the difference. So I've now pressed it, but the first thing you want to do before you turn it over and sew it in place is I fold it over this way, which is at the top and bottom of the bias you've just placed on, and I just sew it gently, otherwise when you go to put the ribbon in it won't go through properly. So I'll just sew that now, and I sew it quite close to the edge, otherwise the ribbon does catch and it can be quite annoying. So you do that whether you sew it on the inside or the outside. When you've done that, you've sewn it, you just snip right next to that sewing that you've just done. So there's the outside, there's the inside where your bias is. So I don't want all that extra fabric, so I just snip it off, and any threads that you don't want, and you do that on both sides. Right, now what you're going to do is you've got your bias there, you've made that nice and tidy on both ends, and now you're going to pin it and sew it. So this is the front, so we're going to pin it And the good thing about the reason we cut the jeans on the bias is so that it has a little bit of give and goes around the corners. We get a nice finish. Ta-da! Okay, so I'll move all these extra bits. So that's what's left of your pair of jeans that cost you 50 cents or that you got out of your drawer or wherever you got them from. And this is what I have done so far. So you can probably can't see, I'll do a close-up before I turn my video camera off, but the only difference you can really see is I've top stitched that one. The white is on the outside because that was in the bobbin, and this one, the top stitching colour is the thread I was sewing the apron with. So I'll take a close up of that, and all I do now is get a safety pin and ribbon or whatever you're going to use, and you thread it up here and you thread it through there, and I'll do that in a minute as well. And then you have an adjustable. Threaded my ribbon in, and I now have an apron. So it was a very cheap and very easy apron, and denim is quite good for an apron. It's quite waterproof, but I quite like if it's got a good pocket. This one's just average, but you know, you can cut the pocket off. This is how I would do it anyway. I mean, everyone's got really good ideas about how you can do these things. So it's pretty rough. But what I would do is I would tidy this up much better than that. I would cut around the pocket. Then I would iron it and all the way around so that it all is nice and even, and sew it on. I might do that. I'll be back in 5. Okay, so that's done, and I've ironed all the seams over. But the one thing I would do is, because the top of the pocket is like that, I would actually sew the pocket so that the top is there. And I might like my pocket on an angle because I quite like it on an angle. So what I would do myself is I'd sew that on like this, and where you've ironed it, flip it over and just pin that in place, and then just top stitch it on with your sewing machine. I think it's always good to have a pocket on an apron. I'm always find whenever I've got an apron on, I'm always trying to put something in the pocket, so it's always good to have one. And now I'll just sew that on, top stitch it on. But there now you have an apron with an actual pocket. You could put the other one on the other side. You could add lace, you could add anything you wanted, because it's yours, it's original. And even if you make errors, it doesn't really matter because it's yours, and they could be your own special little trademark. So there we have it, a simple apron that costs you virtually nothing out of an old pair of jeans. And I hope that was helpful and inspired some people to start sewing, because it's a nice inexpensive way to learn to do something different. See ya!